that's one way to start, Adrian.
That's it. In the paddock of the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park.
Yeah.
Name change.
So we're not too far from where I first seen you race, but it's a long way removed in racing.
It is. Murray Bridge Speedway. Where was that? World Series?
I think it was World Series, yeah.
2015 or something.
Yeah.
Did a season there, so
Yeah.
So that's where we are now.
So your old man raced Super Sedans?
Correct. So that's where he sort of started. Street stocks and Super Sedans back in. I think he might have done Rolly Park for the first year, and then over to Virginia. So that was his stomping ground. That's where I was sort of born, into a racetrack, and yeah, he did Super Sedans for a number of years. That's where he made his name, and there was a big heyday back then.
Yeah.
Huge crowds on every second weekend. So that's where I got the bug, and now it's in me now. So.
Yeah. Because he'd come from that era of like where they built the race cars themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Built his own chassis, and it's had to sort of take parts from road cars to sort of make it happen. Because you're on budgets back then, and he didn't really have a big business at that point in time. So he did a lot of his own stuff, and that hurt him a little bit with the car not lasting and things like that. So, but he learnt a lot, and won some good races. And Supers were awesome the way they used to slide around like the modifieds today. So now with the 4-bar, they kind of drive more like a late model. But that's where what he did.
Do you actually remember a lot of that racing as a kid, or
some of it?
There's a lot of it on YouTube now.
Ago. Yeah, I used to watch.
Yeah, someone's uploaded a whole heap.
It's good.
Yeah,
but they race, and you can sort of, they're hard cars to drive back then. Not taking anything away from the new Super Sedans, but they're not the Super that we all sort of grew up, and they slid. You had to slide it into the corner, and it's good. Some of that old footage is pretty cool to watch.
And there's like a mixed bag of stuff out there too.
It is. Different type of body shapes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, I remember a little bit of it, but we were only we were in a pram and we were going there. But I do remember going to Victoria and some of the speed week of the Supers. It was bloody awesome. So it's good. That's where I got my bug to race.
So it was always a given that you were going to race?
So. Mum got us into BMX racing, and then off to go karts, and then. But being at a racetrack when you're a kid, you sort of it's inevitable. You want to jump in the seat and have a go yourself. So
what did you start in karts?
BMX racing when I was about 4 or 5. So I did that for about 4 or 5 years, and then into dirt karts. That's where the 4-wheel sort of career started. Racing the likes of Pesca. He was the leader. He was always quick. The pits, Todd Hazelwood. Yeah, he was really good. So the pits were fast.
And what style kart was it? That speedway kart?
Lightning kart, so AIDKA.
AIDKA,
So that was pretty big back then. So
it's still huge now.
It is.
I don't know much about it, but there's like so many. There's so many like different classes and categories and stuff of them.
There's 2 main classes really. You got the KTs, and then you got the 125s. That's the main 2 classes that sort of compete in AIDKA. You've got the outlaws and the twins, but they're sort of not very big fields, and they don't run all the time. So it's mainly the KT engine, 100, and then you got the 125cc, and they have the heavies and lights on both. So that's why it sort of complicates it a little bit more. But it's good. It teaches you raw racing, racecraft, and stuff like that. We love it. I still do it here and there when I can get out. I think we're racing at Port Pirie for a 2-day show next weekend. So Amber, my partner, she's got a kart now. We're having some fun with it. So it does. If you're always in a car or a kart, you're going to get better. All the time, rather than being out in the sea. So it's good fun.
Yeah. So you come all the way from karts to a junior sedan?
Yeah, karts were good, but because Dad was racing as well, we were trying to do karts, and then he was racing supers. So it made sense to sort of do speedway, and then he could race that night and we could race as well. So that was the plan, and then me and my brother probably took the juniors a bit more serious, and Dad had to stop racing because of the time sort of factor. So we were racing around Australia in the juniors, so a little bit cheaper than going sort of the Formula Ford route or something like that. So it taught us gearboxes, suspension and things like that you wouldn't have got if you stayed in go-karts. So I think it was a different path, but Yeah, we had fun with it. Won some races and had some battles with your mate Chris Hayden. So.
He's not my mate. So are you pretty hands-on with the car from early age too?
I'm not a mechanic. My brother is.
Yeah.
But learning, being around cars, I know a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm not a mechanic, but yeah, know a little bit. So yeah, pretty hands-on when I was a junior, working on the little cars. And Dad got us out there in the shed every night. If you didn't go out there, you wouldn't race on the weekend. So it teaches you a bit of grounding there. So
yeah. And then you're like pretty successful throughout the juniors.
Yeah, we won heaps of state titles, won a controversial Australian title, and then we had some good battles with a few. Todd Waddell, he was the car we bought it off. Joel Chadwick, we had some good battles. Obviously, he was our main competitor at our era, so me and him had some battles. State titles were neck and neck all the time, so that was good. And then juniors sort of went to Aussie Cars after Junior Sedans. We were looking at doing a V6 Sprint.
Yep. I think that's a great class.
It was. Yeah. Was it a V6 Sprint? Not Sprint?
V6 Sprint.
The V6 Sprint.
Yeah. Or Lightning Sprint.
Lightning Sprint.
Lightning Sprint.
Yeah. That was. We had a chassis lined up ready to go, and just for whatever reason, we just decided to go down black track racing. I think we just had a few sponsors that wanted to sort of go down that path, and it gets more expensive when you leave juniors. The zeros start adding up on the end of it. So did that, and then Aussie Cars were cool. They're completely different kettle of fish to go from dirt track racing, from what our family's always done, to bitumen. It was a completely different world, and I was only 16, 17 at that point. So lining up on the grid next to Jack Perkins and Neil Crompton and stuff like that on your first race meeting sort of makes your heart move a little bit. So,
and that was like your first
meeting was, I think it was at Winton, and there was Toyota TRD put a program together to run the Toyota Orions. So for the first year, so they made shells in the little miniature Aussie racing cars, and I think it was Neil Bates, the rally car driver.
Yeah.
I think he had one, and Jack Perkins was in the other one. So you had a 16-year-old kid sort of going out on the grid with us on a supercar weekend, and you got Craig Lowndes and Jamie Whincup sort of on your next garage kind of thing. It's pretty nerve-wracking, but if you can get over that, then you can do other things, and that sort of set the bar quite high. And loved the Aussie cars, they were awesome. So won the championship in 2011, and then was able to sort of break in. We had a TV show, went on the Shannon Supercar Showdown, which was pretty cool, on Channel 7, mate. Was lucky enough to get a lot of help from James Rosenberg, so he's helped some of the sprint car guys before, so he helped us in Formula 3 and actually put us on to get my first ever V8 Supercar test day with Stone Brothers, so which was really cool. So that's an eye-opening experience when you're out there on the track with Jamie Whincup when they're testing as well. So they're awesome cars. So, super fast. I know you're a little bit biased in this but they're not your kettle of fish, but they're awesome machinery. But just didn't quite have the budget to move down that path. So sort of stopped racing, concentrated on the business for a few years, did some motocross racing, and then thought we'd get back into four wheels, and that's where the sprint car racing comes in. So that's where we sprint cars.
So prior to the Formula 4, you had nothing bitumen racing done, like nothing.
So the Aussie cars, then Formula 3.
Before the Aussie car. So before the Aussie car, nothing. You went straight into one.
Straight into it. Not even bitumen.
Like go-karts or anything. So
did a lot of sim racing, but it's not really the real thing. Like, I've got a great sim and use it for a tool, but it's not the real thing.
That's upset a lot of people.
There's people who hate us right now, but it's great sim racing, but it's not the same. So we've got a motion sim at home as well, but it's nothing like jumping in the car and going out there. So so that was an eye-opening experience. But to go back, and is that what we want? Lights in here? Who knows?
Hopefully the camera looks alright.
But then into the sprint cars after bitumen. So probably back into Speedway. So Speedway, back to bitumen, back to Speedway, and now back to bitumen. So different.
So how'd you go putting your first sprint car together?
We bought the sprint car. So it was a Sydney guy that was running around Parramatta. Just had a Dash 12 engine in it, so an old spec engine, and Yeah, just went out to Port Parham out at the test track out there.
For anyone from SA.
Did a day out there and burnt the tyres off, and did a couple of practice days and straight into racing. You just can't test.
Yeah.
Because even you go to a test day and it's just the track's not really what a race meeting would be like. So you just have to start racing, and that's the hardest thing with the barrier to get into sprint cars is bloody tricky. So it's good fun though. I love it. I love sprint cars. So we're gonna, my mechanic Geordie, one of my mates, we're gonna watch the chariots tonight and get the live streaming on tonight in the RV while we're sitting down and debriefing for the night. We'll watch the Chariots of Thunder. So
what they're doing up there is just amazing in terms of like putting out for free and all that sort of stuff. And
so them and Perth are really leading Australia, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Like there's, I don't know, not knocking anyone, but sort of not really any comparison to anyone else.
Nah, like obviously Warrnambool does great for their couple of shows, probably the best, but apart from that, the coverage just doesn't compete to the bitumen sort of stuff that we do. So Perth's amazing what they do with Channel 7, but I think it's Jason Mackay, but he's got a lot to do with Darwin.
Yeah.
So he's made that happen. Yeah. It's another one we used to race in juniors. So. He's a character.
I was actually talking to him at Murray Bridge probably a couple months ago now. Yeah, I think he was helping someone with the wingless and he was there.
So he came down there?
He came down, I can't remember who it was. He was crewing for someone. He just came down for the weekend. So
he's a character, isn't he?
He's a full character. That's the good thing about it. That's what I love.
He's a racer. He's got half.
I don't know about that. Don't know about that. I don't know. I've heard stories as to who it is and not. And
it's a secret.
It's a secret.
We'll keep it a secret.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll uncover it by the end of this.
I legitimately don't know. I know that I called someone out for it in the Total Tools one day and I got slammed for it. They weren't happy that I said that they were.
So that might be then?
No, I don't think it was because I found out later that it's not them. So, yeah.
I think it's a consortium of 3 or 4 people. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's coming on soon. Who knows? I don't know.
Breaking news. Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything like that for like bitumen racing? Is anyone like that?
Randy Corners, if you punch that in, and that was, I think, was it Warren Luff? I don't know. And he had an alter ego that ran around the pits and sort of made jokes and things like that. But no, maybe they need to.
There's nothing similar to
Mr. Dusty on TikTok, have a look at him. He does some funny stuff, but it's too serious in this bitumen, right? There's too much money involved. That's
yeah. So it's probably one of the things, like the characters are a bit different, aren't they? Like
it's the corporate funding that sort of you have to toe the line to some degree, because if you don't, the sponsors might not like it, and then you're out of a seat, sort of thing. So yeah, it's tricky when it comes like that, and that's one aspect I don't love about it, because you can't always be yourself and say what you want, because you have to toe the line, because that's part of the sport, I guess, in this world. So in this day and age, especially there's a camera always
there's cameras, man.
You have to watch it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the one thing I like about speedway in terms of, like, you know, you can go after the meeting and, like, you know, like literally at the Classic I was having a beer with J-Mac. You know, like
a bit more down to earth.
Yeah,
it's your commitments that some of the supercar guys have got. They just can't do it.
Yeah,
they can't be seen with they probably want to. They probably do when there's no cameras. But it's different. There's a lot more fans that might try and stump them up if they do not toe the line, sort of thing. So, but sprint cars are a lot more like it's raw. As you see the Knoxville, you see some of the videos out there. It's super raw. We went over there last year, and you can see the drivers. They're right there, and some of the crew, and they'll tell you what's going on. There's no secrets sometimes. So that's good. Yeah,
Knoxville's wild, and I've never been, but it's just
gotta do it. It's next year. Book it in.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see.
Once it starts paying up, we'll get some sponsors on board, guys. And,
I've got to accuse the other day of being a millionaire from it. I was like, calm down. This is putting me in a massive hole.
That's good what you're doing, and it's bringing some more light to speedway racing, which struggles a little bit with the media. They just don't get enough coverage, and what you're doing is great. So.
Probably my biggest thing, I just wanted to show like the characters of the sport, like just sort of let people know that, like, you know, you can come down and interact with these guys, and you know, like you can chat to them after a meeting and stuff like that. It's like and some of them are like the greatest yarns you ever hear. Like,
Yeah. It's funny, some of the stories that you don't hear about, just come down, have a chat. Even at the Speedway, obviously, and they're not going to buy it.
No, they're not going to. And probably 99% of the guys you can go and have a chat to.
Yeah.
There's going to be maybe one or two guys that I can think of that will
hide away.
Or and sometimes too, it's not a case of they're not wanting to talk to the fans. It's a case of they live 8 hours away and they've got to jump in the truck and go. So it's not necessarily them being
They literally have to
they got
wash the car because they're racing this tomorrow.
They got to get going, sort of thing. So it's not all sort of like that either.
That's a hard thing. Some of those outlaw teams.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah,
I think you touched on it before with some of the other podcasts you've done.
Yeah,
the miles and the hours they put in. You got to be committed to. It's not a glamorous sort of thing.
No. Well, I mean, that's something I wanted to touch on with you, actually, so I'll go down that road now.
Okay. Go down the rabbit hole. Let's go.
So, obviously, you race for a living. So you got the Super Utes and you race...
So I do a lot of the driver
the driver
coaching
days.
And driver days out here at the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. I'm going to get slapped over the wrist for getting it wrong, calling it the Ben Motorsport Park. But we get looked after and get paid to do that sort of thing. We've got some great corporate partners on board with Go Sunny, Bryce Metals, United Fasteners, so Gant and Sons. So they just see some value to. We're going to give them some ride days at the end of the year, so we can bolt a second seat in the car, which is tricky in the sprint car world. You can't do it. So you got the 2-seater, but we've got a lot more opportunity to give that corporate guys back some value. So we're on TV and Foxtel, KO. So
so between your racing, your job,
you're
on the road.
Flat out.
You're on the road flat out.
It is.
Not having a dig, but as we spoke about before, we were trying to tee this up for months, and it's literally your schedule is
pretty flat out.
Is
but I love it. I get to do it. I don't have to do it. I could go do something else, and I was doing something else. But I have to sort of realise sometimes when you blow a tyre a couple of weeks ago, and I get frustrated. But I get to do this. I don't have to do it. So trying to have that grounding is tricky because we're a racer. We want to do as good as we can, but you got to remember that.
So one of the things I always think about with the guys on the Outlaw Tour is their partner, which I'm sure. Obviously, you've got an amazing partner, so
she helps us a lot. Which is great.
With how much you're on the road, it's not too dissimilar to what some of the World Outlaw guys are doing.
It isn't, but the Outlaw guys, I think it's more hectic than what we do. We get to have a breather sometimes, and those hours they travel, we might be on track for 3 or 4 days, but we're in the same location.
Yeah.
Then we pack 2 weeks later, we're on the road again, but they're on the road every night sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's another difference.
It has to be the point where some of the wives are driving the RVs and stuff.
Well, they have to be working on the car and the truck and the semis. I've heard stories that
Jamie got these stories about
stories that they're in the transporter while the transporter's up and down, and they're working, taking the motor apart. That's just, it's crazy.
Yeah. They can get away with it over there. So.
No rules over there.
Yeah,
they got thongs. And
that's why they put the outlaws in.
Well, we got so many rules over there, and that's another reason why it is amazing over there for the speedway side of things. Is dangerous but raw. It's so raw. They got thongs on the quad, no helmet. Go out there, kids on the back, kids in the pits.
Yeah.
And that kid might be a sponsor. The dad might be.
Yeah, that's right.
And then bang.
Yeah.
So,
Dave Donald's was saying about how he was having beers in the pits and J-Mac was racing. He's talking to J-Mac. J-Mac's talking about setups and Dave's having a beer.
It's cool.
And
then we put that barrier here in Australia, which I think we need to look at. But here, we're driving the race cars around the pits and there's kids in the pits. So why can we do it? And sprint cars should be able to do it. They do the pit party, but I reckon they need to get them in. Get them amongst it. Sprint cars are amazing machinery. Get the kids in there.
Yeah.
So
I think Jack touched on it too. You might have 1 in 100 guy goes up and talks to a driver at the wrong time, and that's probably about the worst that's going to sort of happen. But
if that's going to help grow it a little bit, I think there's a few tweaks, but there's stuff that we need to learn that sprint cars do well as well. So it's different. So, but I love sprint cars. We've still got one in the shop, and we'll probably drag it out at some stage and have a play in the mud. But they're awesome. They're just so good equipment. Out the corner, just wheel stand in the straight. What other motorsport can can do that. So I'm biased. I love both. So
Yeah. So these things have come, like the Super Utes have come, like, well, they sort of went the wrong way there for a minute.
they went wrong, and I'll tell I hated them. The way the diesel era was horrible. So they had to make a change for it to last, and they put the V8s, lowered them, put supercar brakes in, supercar pedal box. Made them a lot more racy. So now we've got 20 on the grid, 22 on the grid, and yeah, some of the supercar guys are taking notice that we're getting some good corporate support in the category, and we're producing good racing. So that's what fans want to watch. They want to watch racing.
Yeah.
That's why sprint cars are great.
Yeah.
They race. So there's no dirty air. We haven't got big wings on them. The tyres slide around, so you can race 2 or 3 wide. So
Yeah.
it's good.
I think it's a hard thing to come from like what we remember as like, was it V8 Brutes or something like that? The Brutes Utes, yeah, like that. That era of them was just like
awesome.
wild.
And
like,
will we get back to that? We'll see. It's
Yeah.
heading in the right direction, but that was a golden era.
Yeah,
with some
definitely.
of the Monster Energy, that GoPro on board, they had some good corporate support, and the characters, the ex-supercar
Yeah.
guys, Cameron McConville, Warren Luff.
yeah, didn't everyone have like their? Oh, you've got the nickname. Oh, everyone's got a nickname on the car. Oh,
Yeah, I think that's an initiative that I think the category introduced this year or last year to just try and bring that flavour, the character, the family fun back into it. So Fridays are great. We got the schools come down, because obviously they're still at school, so they come down and do their tours. So we show them around the car, sit in the car, turn the car on. So then they'll probably be a fan for a long time.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's definitely a thing. They resonate with the driver more so than the
we
racer.
gave out nearly 100 posters today to the kids.
Yeah,
Signed
right.
them, and they'll go away and put it on their wall.
Yeah.
And follow you on Instagram, and they'll follow you for a long time. They'll buy your merch, and their parent could be a potential sponsor, and then helps you move to the end of the year. So that's good.
You never know where it's at. Sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, we were here doing at Murray Bridge the street party yesterday on Channel 7, panning their cameras on the Channel 7 news. So we're sort of trying our best to try and give back to these partners that are on board, because you take from them, but you have to give back.
Yeah.
Because they won't keep helping out. So
Yeah.
it's important. I think you need to, as a young fella, probably wasn't that great at, and now I've got a lot better because I've realised that it's the only way to be able to go racing properly. So
Yeah, that's really like, I've said it before, and I don't care, but Jamie Cobby said he still talks to his sponsors, even though he's not racing. He still like keeps in contact with them, sees how they're going.
no, he's
all
great.
that sort of stuff.
He's a good guy. He helped us with the bleeders.
Yeah.
We were having some issues with, so he came in and helped me out with the bleeders when we were running sprint cars. So I think he done it the legitimate way, like in terms of found sponsors went racing on the funding, which is, I do respect that.
Yeah.
It's the way to do it.
But like from what he's saying is like, you know, you never know, like if he decides to put the lid back on, like he could probably make a few phone calls and rustle up some dollars like pretty quickly.
He's still fast.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. Like,
You look at some of the, and that's a good thing with sprint car racing, even overseas. Like look at Donny Schatz, like he'd be in his 50s.
Yeah, probably.
We're closing on that.
Big
He's winning outlaw shows. So you can do it in your 50s, 60s, probably late 50s is where you. But he could do it for another 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What do you think of the Ford?
I've got no problems with it.
No
I don't.
problem. And the Toyota? No problem.
Love it.
Love it.
I don't see any problems with it. Like you see all the Facebook comments going off about the Toyota, and
There's
it's
a
like,
keyboard warriors.
it's like there's Toyota's from Japan, but the TRD is like all developed and built in North Carolina.
So it's still American.
It's like fully American
So
motor.
who runs that? You got J-Mac?
J-Mac.
Roth? Both Roths?
Both Roths. There's someone else running one too. I can't remember who it was.
So they've got 3 or 4.
They got 3 or 4 of them out there. Yeah.
And
So
they're a completely different design. Do you know much about the...
I think they're based. They have used a bit of the NASCAR stuff off of them. Yeah. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's different.
Yeah. Well, they've
I
actually
thought it for 10 years ago that there would be different manufacturers.
Yeah, well, it was probably maybe 10 years ago, they actually had them in Silver Crown and 360s.
Right.
So it's just only been the last few years they've stepped up to 410. So, yeah, there's actually like quite a long history of the Toyota winning in Silver Crown cars. So, which for whatever reason...
Got around? Oh, what? So they got a bigger tank? Or
Yeah,
something?
they're massive.
Right.
They're like a big fat sprint car.
And like the chassis are completely different.
Completely different, yeah, much wider.
They run like big, wide open county sort of
Yeah, they run like
showgrounds
generally
sort of
miles,
stuff.
yeah.
How fast those tracks.
Yeah, They run a mile for like 100 laps generally. Yeah.
So they do pit stops, obviously, or
No.
is that why they got the big tanks?
Yeah, big tanks,
right.
they go for it. Yeah.
Wow.
And you're allowed. They have a starter on them, which is like controversial, but it's
Yeah.
like I think you can. You only for some reason the starter only engages once. So
Low battery, like
I think it like something locks in it or something. I don't know, something like that. But I know that you can only start once.
right,
So yeah.
get one kick.
Yeah.
So, can you not use that?
Yeah,
And
you
then-
cannot use it. You can
and
use
then
like a
have one start out on the track.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I could be wrong, but yeah, I love them. I think it's such a great form
I
of
love
racing.
the non-wing.
Oh,
If I was
non-wings, my
That's
jam.
dangerous. That's dangerous. But that's hardcore motorsport. Those guys running those bank tracks, 410 non-wing,
To me,
That
the
is-
racing's so entertaining. Like,
no wings, no dirty air.
no wings do it. Like, can be a slick track and there's still massive sliders and passing and like, yeah.
What they do at Kokomo and stuff
Yeah.
like that, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
That's
It's a very hard thing. I've spoken about it before. You watch Flow and then you watch our wingless, and it's like, yeah,
it's all money. Like it's to run a 410. The engines are where it costs the money, and,
Yeah.
and the wingless is nowhere near that. So, and tyres, you don't burn anywhere near as much tyres off as you
Yeah.
do on a 410. But
So you guys in the Utes are running the 6.2?
yeah, so we're running the 6.2 LS3. So
Yeah.
I think, is it the 525 is where the LS
Is it-
winglet, the new LS class sprint cars?
Yeah.
Is that- yeah, okay. So it's a slightly different base.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So it's not far off from that though. It's
No,
probably in the
I don't
same
think so.
same realm. Yeah.
So
I think that motor's specially built for dirt track or maybe even just oval because I think of where the pickups are in the sump. And that's
what are
about-
they worth to buy?
I think 18.
And it's the longevity you probably get out of them
Yeah.
a lot more, which
Yeah.
is where the cost comes into it.
Yeah, well, they say 40 shows, so probably depends on what you're doing, how you're driving it, how you're looking after it.
Is it growing? I haven't kept on top of it. Like, is
From
it-
what I've seen in Victoria, it's like it's growing massively.
And they're racing with the 360s,
They're racing with 360s, yeah.
and they're getting about the same.
About the
360s
same.
a bit quicker.
360s are obviously probably still a bit quicker because I think they got still like probably maybe another 100-ish sort of horsepower-ish. I
Yeah,
think.
okay. Yep.
So, which probably makes a difference early in the night, but
It's a way
Yeah.
that I think Australian sprint car racing may have to go to get it out of a bit of a hole in terms of that lower end sprint car racing kind of thing. That's you've got the premium big dollar teams, but the
Yeah.
middle low ones are struggling because we don't have those big paying shows like America does.
Yeah.
Where you can run a 410 over there and make the A, and you might pay for your night. Here, you make the A and you
Yeah.
still won't pay your night.
yeah, I mean you can run over there and make a couple of grand just for starting.
That's what I mean. So
like,
you can afford to run a four, and it's dearer over here. I think Jack McCarthy might have touched on some of the prices and
Yeah.
stuff like that. We don't have to go too far deep into it, but yeah, we need to get it back to where World Series was.
Yeah.
It was going good. They had the Hot Wheels on board. They had some good corporate backing there on Channel 1 HD, I think it was.
Yeah.
That's what they need to get back to. So.
yeah, I think and I think that's probably the problem with where we're at in Speedway at the moment. We actually come off like a really big high in terms of like USC and all that sort of
It was
stuff.
good.
Like it was
I thought
pumping
it
there
was-
for a minute.
And then COVID put a dent
Yeah.
in it. And I thought it would have bounced back a bit quicker, but the tyre shortage didn't help. And now, what's going on with the World Series,
Yeah.
it's just a shame because you got these big teams, $1 million teams. And
Yeah.
They need to be racing.
What do you see at the track in terms of like? I know from a social media standpoint, you see a lot of people fed up with V8 supercars, but do you actually see a lot of that at the track?
We've been at Perth and Sydney Motorsport Park, and the fans that are at the track are loving the new cars. They're loving the racing, the different winners.
Yeah,
You jump on social media and it's the loudest 20 people that are negative
Yeah.
that make it sound a lot worse than what it is.
Yeah.
And look, they've got some parody issues if you want to go down that path, which we won't parody. But look, there's been a couple guys in supercars that have been a bit vocal, which taints it a bit, but they might have already nestled themselves into a spot that doesn't really matter if they rustle some feathers. So, I don't know. The events like Bathurst is sold out. What was it, 2 hours? And
Yeah.
the Bathurst was sold out. You know, Adelaide 500 was one of the biggest crowds. Gold Coast is going to be bumper, and we're racing there this year. So, I don't know. They put on a good show in terms of everything. that's around it.
The event itself.
The events are
Yeah.
huge. This is one of the smaller events that we go to. They're upwards of 100,000 crowd. Like
Yeah,
it's huge. So that's why these partners get a bit of a value for it. They can come out and see their logo getting seen
Yeah.
with thousands of people. So if you can't beat them, join them. So that's why we had to pivot. And especially for an SA kind of sprint car team, we had to think about it with losing Speedway City and then having to travel interstate all the time.
Yeah.
It's a cost. Diesel up and back all the time. It costs a fair bit to do that. So we had to
especially
pivot.
now too. Like,
It's hard.
yeah,
So for SA teams, and like some of the guys that are doing it from SA, they base themselves sometimes in Perth
Yeah.
and race out of there because it's cheaper to just leave all your equipment over there for a couple of months. So we need to get Speedway City back, but will it happen? That's another whole topic.
It's
a sore topic.
I'm definitely sore about it for sure. Like I didn't race or anything like that, but like the memories that I have there, just in general, like
It's close to the city, brings out fans.
Yeah.
Really, that was the place for Speedway in Australia, really.
Yeah.
But we've got Eastern Creek, and hopefully they fix a few of the issues, and that place will be it's the best track in the world in terms of facilities.
Yeah,
It's Speedway.
Yeah.
Like can't beat it.
Yeah.
Like I went to Knoxville and I went to Indianapolis, some of the smaller who was it? Oskaloosa, and they're all in the medium tracks, they're county tracks.
Yeah.
Eastern Creek is a world-class facility.
Yeah.
So if they can get the track right and they get back promoting it again, I reckon it'll be pretty good. They're doing good stuff in Darwin, Perth's good. So.
Yeah, because I would have thought, like, if the supercar thing is turning fans away as bad as it is, like, Speedway could
capitalise on it.
Maybe,
but now not.
Yeah.
With the news with trying to clash with the classic fighting with that, it's not a good look. And the World Series, we've both got problems. So, and Speedway's got some issues, supercars have got issues, but who can try and fight through those issues to come out the other end?
Just need someone to come in and bang all their heads together.
Supercars they've got the platform, they've got street
Yeah.
racing, and if it's easier for the consumer, and that's what we're talking about with Speedway City, if it's easy for them to drive 10 minutes down the road, bang, they don't want to drive 2 hours.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like Bordertown's going to be an amazing. That's why I'm keeping the sprint car to hunt around I-55 miniature. And I just don't think they're going to get the city crowd. Unfortunately, you're not going to get 10,000 people like you would at a boxing.
Yeah.
It's just people are lazy these days. They don't want to drive far.
Yeah.
Whereas America, these guys, their fans are driving 3 hours on a Tuesday night to watch a wingless show. So
it's just
they're
different.
different. Completely different. So
that's where, like, for me, that's one of the goals of all this was to try and bring people into it as well. Because, like, in my mind, and from a business sense, I could be completely wrong, but like, I'll go to every meeting that I can.
Yeah.
Like, but the track doesn't need my money because it's guaranteed. Like, you need those.
Correct.
You need those casual.
You're a
fans.
diehard.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're a diehard.
Yeah.
You're going no matter what.
Yeah. You
It's
need
the
those casual
ones-
fans. Like,
Even not even the casual. It's the ones that have been once or twice.
Yeah.
Get them back in.
yeah.
You need more entertainment. Like Wendy used to put on at Speedway City with the Clary the Clown, and you used to have, the freestyle guys. You have to put a show on to get. I don't want to watch a grader drive around for an hour.
Yeah. I think one of the guys that's smashing it, not in Australia unfortunately, is Peter Murphy in California.
Okay.
If you've watched the streams from there.
So they're doing that promotional quite good.
Like, it was very rare that they do a track raid in America anyway.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
If for whatever reason they are doing it, like, Pete was like in the crowd throwing out T-shirts and lolly bags.
These guns.
Yeah,
They're
he's doing
shooting
like
guns
everything.
out.
Like, there's something happening, and like
50-50 raffles,
50-50, it's like,
rundown and colouring in competition. You have to get the fans in.
And
Wade Ondra was pretty good with that, with the World Series. He got the crowd involved. You have to.
Always gets it going at the Classic as well. And one of the things that Pete does is he brings the dash winner to the crowd. So the driver, they run the dash, pulls up on the front straight, gets out the car and walks into the crowd.
Right.
And that's where they get interviewed. So all the kids are coming up and seeing, like, the driver. They get to see what he looks like.
interesting things you can do
Yeah.
to spice it up, to
Yeah.
make it something is what the fans, they pay their money. They want
Yeah.
to see. Oskaloosa do it, well. It's called the Front Row Challenge, and they sprint to decide the front row. So
I've seen it.
it's pretty fun.
There's some people not happy about that.
I
It's
think
like-
someone
it's like-
jumped the gun or something.
it's like-
But nah, it's part of the fun. But so where are you off to next? When's Speedway season starting? A couple of months?
I think in the next month. Oh, I think
Yeah.
in the next month, Murray Bridge has got a practice day.
Yep.
So you should bring your mate out. Oh no, I don't think they can. I think you got to wait for sponsors day for anyone to have a run.
Have a run. I think there's a private. We're going to try and do a private day with another sprint car team, so we might go out there and do something there. So we'll see.
What, you
We'll
will,
see.
or-
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the calendar goes. We're pretty busy at the back end of this year, so pretty well every supercar event from Sydney last round, we're on the same all the way up to Gold Coast. So
Yeah, right.
it's going to be a quick turnaround. But
So where do the Utes go after this?
so GGM is our team. So we've got he's just set up a new race shop, GGM Concepts, which is like a West Coast custom kind of. You can see the Slammerado on your left. It's bagged. It's got 22-inch wheels and it's on airbags. So he does custom modification. He's got a pretty cool workshop down there. So the cars will go there, give it a prep. About 2-week turnaround. We're off to Sandown.
Yep.
So that's the first of the Enduros for the supercars. Sandown, we've got Bathurst, the 1000, so that's going to be a pretty big week for us. So do that, and then later in the year we've got Gold Coast, and then hopefully next year we've got Adelaide 500. So they're just getting the calendar together. So it's a small year, like in terms of how many actual races or rounds we do, but there's a lot that goes in the back end of it. So yeah, it's good fun. Loving it.
Is there as much prep in these as a sprint car, like in between
No.
meetings? No.
No, there's probably less, to be
Yeah,
honest. Yeah, there's sprint cars are a lot
Is that
more.
less for you? Or
Well, just less overall. Like it's the engines.
Yeah.
Like, sprint cars, you have to be on top of lashing
Yeah.
those valves, washing your methanol out, being on top of what you're doing. Because if you don't, they'll go bang.
Yeah.
And it costs what's it, $110,000
Yeah.
for a new engine. It's very costly. So yeah, you got to be on top of that. Always greasing your bars. Your drive line comes out, re-squaring it. You've always pretty well got a little bit of damage and somewhere. Changing tyres all the time. We're lucky we've got the Yokohama guys doing our own. They just do the tyres for us, so we can take the wheels off. They do it, and bring them back. So a lot more work in sprint cars as well. So, but it's a different aspect. A lot more tunability in the sprint car as well. So
Yeah.
your window is a lot smaller in here, mainly because the track doesn't go off. So a sprint car, you go from one spectrum. The end of the night can be a completely different car. Here, you roll out the car and you might just tweak some ride height, tweak some front geometry throughout the weekend, and that's your window sort of thing. So, yeah, vastly different.
So how controlled are these?
Very. Yeah. So you got controlled brakes, shocks, springs, engine. So it's just getting your ride height, your Ackerman, your camber, your tyre pressures. You can do a little bit in the rear geometry, your ride height. All that sort of stuff, the basics, but it's down to hardcore racing, and that's what you kind of want in a way, in one aspect, because you don't want old mate down the road that's got some budget that's out of control always winning. That's not a good look sometimes.
So can you buy these from like a
So-
builder and such, or do you
So
can put them together yourself?
Cedars Racing control the category, so they build most of the new builds. They're in Sydney based, so they've been in the Ute series for a number of years. They'll build it to about 50%, and then it will go to Pace Innovations, who actually build the supercars.
Yep.
They'll do the rear geometry, and I think they do the roll cage. Then it's pretty well ready. They run a Holtec engine management system and then a Motec data logging, so you can track all your data like the supercars do,
Right.
all your throttle, your steering, your brake pressure, speeds, what gear you're in, clutch in. Pretty well track every input you do, so you can't lie. You can't tell your crew chief like speed, it's pushing out of turn 2 when it's not. You know, you can't lie here. You download the data, and especially our 2-car team with George. We can look over that data, and I might be doing turn 2 a different technique, but I'm gaining, he's losing. We can learn quicker through the weekend having a 2-car team. So,
So how do you pick your like body style? Are these taken
so
from
these are Holden, Colorado.
So these are were a legit road
legit,
car?
yeah,
Right.
Yep. So these are Holden, Colorado, and then they pretty well strip it right out. It's, just the chassis, and then they put all the race gear in there. So just the front uprights are the only different. So they're the Holden Colorado uprights, and then if you look at like a Triton, that's the front uprights for a Triton.
Yeah, right.
So that's the only difference that you may get from track to track. So.
Yeah, right. So someone could take a road going car to those guys and turn it into this, like no dramas.
100%.
Yeah,
so,
right.
So it's similar to the old Utes.
Yeah.
A little bit more technology. We're about 6 seconds quicker than the old,
Yeah, right.
the proper Utes, not the diesel era. Those weird
The brutes.
Yeah, the brute Utes. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're faster. It's just better brakes, I guess.
Yeah, right. Shit, I didn't know that.
Quicker engine. Yeah,
That's-
too late. I'll show you around the car after we finish the podcast and show you around of what it is. I know you speedway, not like, but,
No,
like it's different.
But
It's different.
the engineering stuff of like all aspects of racing interests me.
It's different.
Like I'm a nerd for all that stuff. So
The thing I don't like, it's a knack, those crew chiefs and
Yeah.
the speedway world, how they can tune a car without data.
yeah,
They can look at a car and say it's doing this, it's laying over, and tune it up. Like some of those outlaw crew chiefs, how they can just look at it and tune it. Just the engineers that supercars and we've got the data like I was telling you about, so we can look at what the car's doing, pitch, braking, understeering. You can look at all that
Yeah.
and go, oh no, it's doing this. And you can quantify it. Whereas speedway, you got no.
yeah. I've never actually thought about it like that, but I'm sure you would have seen it. Like I pick up on it, probably not anywhere near as great as a crew chief would, but you know, you'd see a sprint car and you're like, oh, he's on.
Yeah,
Like
or he's not working.
Yeah, he's not
that's
working.
what-
Or like have a look at him. He's in 10th, but there's 20 laps to go. He's coming.
Yes,
like
that's
you know,
true.
you do see it.
And that's why a crew chief, that's why those guys get bonuses and stuff like that, because a lot of it, it's due to the crew chief. And you've
Yeah.
got a good car set up when it goes sleep, you're gonna be fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got the hang of it at the end of our sprint car sort of racing. We got some FK shocks with fully adjustable. That helped a lot. But I had a year and a half, and I had a year off, year off, year. Then I did my ACL, that was my last break. So I sort of had a lot of intermittent. And it's hard if you're not on that continuity racing year after year, you do kicks you a bit. So
Yeah.
good fun. Didn't have massive success, won a few races and heats and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a big world, sprint car racing.
What about like the mental side of things? Of like, you know, do you sort of get time to relax in these racing sort of thing?
Yes and no. Our races are a lot longer than speedway races. Like it might be an 8-lap race, but we're out there for nearly half an hour.
Yeah,
so,
you're at like a 6K track or something.
yeah, so like sprint cars is probably the longest feature would probably be without stoppages included. You're probably looking at 25-minute race. So
yeah,
but the concentration in the sprint cars are probably a little bit more like you need to be zoned in on a
Yeah.
sprint car because it's just happening so fast. Everything's going so fast. But yeah, on a qualifying run, you've got one lap to do it with these tyres, so you have to make it count. But sprint cars the same. You've only got sort of 2 laps to put a lap together. So kind of, yeah, down the straight. If you're in top gear, you can probably have a bit of a look down, make sure you all your fundamentals are working okay, temperatures and things like that. Or if you've got a gap behind and a gap in front, you might sort of say, look, 3 laps to go. We'll keep the tyres under us for the next 2 races because we only get 6 for the race weekend, so you have to sort of manage that a bit. So there's different aspects of circuit racing that you don't really have to worry about in speedway. So yeah, it's a different challenge, but it's just funny. I've jumped around dirt track, bitumen, dirt track, bitumen. But yeah, I've nestled myself into this for a great team with Go Sunny, Solar and George with GGM, and yeah, having fun. It's great. Even the Ute category, everyone sort of. So it's a good series to sort of. Yeah, everyone has a chat. Like we're serious. Once you put the helmet on, it's game on. But you do have a joke and have a laugh with some others. So it's good.
So it probably sounds like a weird thing to say, but like, probably like racing just in general. Like, how much are you thinking? Like, you're no doubt a natural born racer.
I don't know if I believe in that. Like,
No?
because like that's a whole nother topic about being born with the talent.
Yeah.
We're getting deep now, but like, no, I think it's more just being surrounded, and then being in a pram, looking at racing, playing with cars.
Yeah.
Having a brother, being involved, being competitive with my brother, playing PlayStation or World of Outlaws, the old game. You know, playing that every second night. You get
Yeah.
oh, the car's doing this, don't do that. And it just, then you get to 13, 14, and you've already got 10 years worth of, I don't know. Hey, look, some people are probably born a bit more finite with their motor skills or something. So, yeah, I don't know. There's more being surrounded with, like Dad's raced. If Dad didn't race, would I be doing as good as I am? Maybe not. Who knows?
If at all.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
So how much are you are you thinking about though? Like, are you
during the race?
Yeah.
Like,
do you know what I mean though? Like, are you like subconsciously thinking about like?
That's a good question.
Like,
I know it's asked me that in any kind of podcast before.
I'm trying to think of
Okay,
what to put it into context of. You know when you're like,
you enter a zone. So once that flow state.
Yeah.
So when you're in normal world, you always think, I'm a bit hungry tonight, or like, I've got to remember, I've got to go to the post office next week. You don't have those sorts of thoughts when you're zoned in. It's about making sure that gear shift's right, making sure that braking marker, and you're hitting the brakes at the right braking marker, feeding the throttle. Okay, it's late in the race, the rear tyres are starting to go off. I got to, not drive at 10 tenths. Okay, I've got someone in the mirror. I know how he races. I can defend him in a certain way. So like, you're always thinking somewhat, and they get quite hot in these cars as well. So managing that temperature is, you're not over-exuding yourself as well. You have to be careful. So
I suppose what I mean is like, it's not like when you're doing something like, if you're cooking and you're following a recipe, you're like, right, do this, do that, you're following it. But then if you've done it a few times, you just sort of do it.
Yeah, there's probably an element of that.
Yeah.
But you're always trying to be better and explore that unknown, whether you can brake a little bit deeper or get on the gas a little bit harder.
I heard one day, and every driver that I've said this to has said that it's utter shit, is that Schumacher said that he was one day like, he's somewhere racing there, and he's like thinking about his family and what was going to be for dinner and stuff. And like everyone that I've spoken to who's an actual racer has said there's no way.
So when you've got a car that might be 3 seconds a lap quick, I'm sure Verstappen has done that, remember? You probably don't watch a lot of F1, but you might have heard a radio call last round. He said, I'll come in, we're 30 seconds ahead, I'll come in for a pit stop practice for the guys. He just threw it in. So because he's got such a great car, and it's way beyond anyone else, he can muck around a bit. Yeah. Without it sounding stupid. He's working his ass off, but it's not to the level of, say, a mid-pack guy has to be so zoned in to extract to get a mid-place finish. He can drive at 95% and still win. Yeah. So that's that element of Schumacher kind of aspect of.
So he's probably not. So he wouldn't be thinking as much as the mid-pack guy. Yeah.
Because he has to be at 10 tenths. He can drive 9 tenths and still win. They still look like the best guy in the world. See what I mean? That's what happens when you don't have a category that's controlled. Yeah. I don't think even sprint cars, even if you had the best car in the world, you could do that, because and
that's probably my love for it too. Is like, it is going away a little bit, but you can have, there's no doubt like someone like yourself can rock up in your sprint car and put the top guys away on any given night.
If we could rip the setup and and away you go.
But every other guy that's there that night, generally, has that opportunity to do it as well.
It is. And that's what the mix, you never know who's going to win. And then the World of Outlaws, or even the World Series, you can have 20 guys that can legitimately win that race. So you look at Brock Hallett with winning the Classic. He's been on form, but given a couple of years ago, I think he won the World Series. It was probably a number of years now. He probably wasn't the one people would have thought to win that World Series, and he got it right. He was on right, and he won the World Series. It's bloody cool. Yeah, you can't do that in Formula One.
No, you're not going to do that in V8 Super Utes.
It's hard. You need to be top 2 or 3 teams, or doesn't matter. Yeah. So,
but even they probably could just throw anyone in.
Oh no. There's a lot more. Like there's testing that goes involved, and there's a fine art to drive. It's weird thinking that. Why is that?
I don't know.
That's a weird one.
You're the Richmond guy.
That's true. Less to think about in speedway. 4 corners, maybe.
I don't know.
We use
I suppose in some degree too, though. Like maybe, like when you look up and down the pits now, I know that they're all different, but all the sprint cars are pretty much on par as well too. Like everyone, all the guys at the pointy end have all got the good gear.
That's true.
Like it's there is probably a disparity from the very top guys to the low end guys.
Yeah.
But still given the night and what can happen,
You can still rip it if you get the setup right at the end of the night. You can come through. So you probably don't have that in bitumen as well. You have to have everything dialed.
Yeah.
I think it's also the track goes off, like we were talking about before. So you might not get the setup right, but you get it, you wing it kind of thing, and then you get it right, and then you win the night. Supercars, you can't really just wing it.
Yeah. You're not going to come from you're not going to come from the back to win sort of thing.
That's why rep races are so good
in
bitumen racing, because it does mix it up. You don't know who. It doesn't matter if you've got the best team. You might have a different handling car, or you have a crash, or it's slippery and you're better driving in the wet, and it's more exciting in the wet. So that's why I don't know who it was, but they said if you want an exciting bitumen race, Formula 1 race, put sprinklers on the track. So it's true. How many wet races in Formula 1 or supercars? It's ding dong battles. So, but it's different.
They might have that this weekend. I think.
Well, this morning we had practice one. It was wet, really wet, and these are hard to drive in the wet. They're real snappy, so we don't have full wet weather tyres. So that was hard, but it was dry for
we keep looking and pointing at them.
No one knows where
to see them.
We need two cameras, not like 360 cameras. They can choose where to watch. But I think it's dry for the rest of the weekend, so should be good. So are you coming up for the rest of the weekend? Or you're working?
Sure.
You are?
Yeah, I'm coming up to watch. No, I can't.
Coming up to V8 Utes?
Nah, I've got home and this, and I've actually got another one on Sunday.
Okay. So, yeah. So you're rolling out a few. You're pumping them out now.
Yeah,
that's good.
So, trying to get there.
That's good. That's a good fun. So how long have we been rolling for? Nearly an hour? No, we can do 2 hour power, I reckon, tonight. No.
I'll do it. I don't give a shit. I was talking racing all night.
I'm going to watch it.
I actually do. I get a chance.
So how far away you live near? Or
hour away. Yeah. So that was probably like the one, going back to what we're talking about, Speedway City. From where I live, Speedway City, Murray Bridge, both an hour. So, it was blessed sort of thing. And now it's like...
You go to the Classic every year?
Yeah, I took a break for a little while there, and then, going back. This will be the first time in a couple of years doing back-to-back, so... Yeah.
We'll definitely go back. It's just an awesome event, isn't it?
Yeah.
If every sprint car event was like that, bloody awesome.
Yeah.
So, it's creating the... what do you call it?
It's a weird thing, though, and like I said this the other day to someone, and they... no, I don't want to say who I said it to, because they actually agreed, but the weird thing with sprint cars is the racing that was at the Classic, if you want to be like dead serious about this, the racing was exactly the same at Murray Bridge the next week.
Right, okay.
Like, as far as the racing goes, but it's the event that the Classic is that
history as well.
The Knoxville's the same.
Yeah.
Like the feature at Knoxville was the same the week before as the week after. It's just the event changed.
It's weird, isn't it? It's just the hype.
Yeah, that's right.
Date and event.
Yeah. It's I don't have any problems with it. I'm not knocking anything like that.
That's what makes it good.
That's right. That's what I think. Like,
so more events that can start history, and Chariots have done that well with. It's a staple now. People are booking their calendar to go up there.
Like, you can't tell me that the guys who started the Classic would have thought it's where it's at now.
Oh, Chariots.
The Classic.
Yeah. But they've got to have a really good committee that's.
You just got to keep going with the date and just keep making it.
Yeah. Sometimes if you've got a good thing, don't muck it up.
Just
keep tweaking it slightly, but don't muck it. When you know you've got something good, keep going.
Yeah, that's why I was really happy to see that Murray Bridge is going back to the $20,000 50-lapper midget.
I've seen the calendar, and they've got a few sprint car meetings.
There
this year. So what are they doing at $20,000?
Well, so last year they did $20,000 to win 50-lap speed car feature.
Right. Okay.
And it probably wasn't quite what everyone thought it was going to be, but they're going again with it again this season. And that's the thing. I think just because it didn't quite work out, and you got to keep pushing with it, and you'll make it an event.
Yeah, for sure. It's just tricky. Midgets, they just don't have that crowd that they get in sprint cars. Sprint cars just pull a crowd. No matter what you do, you say sprint cars, and they flip-flop from the...
Yeah, well, that's what... I don't know if you've
Or a
seen
demo.
it,
You love the demos, don't you?
Demo derby, mate. They pull the crowd in. But that's exactly what happened with the 50 lapper. The Saturday night wasn't huge, but the Sunday was like...
Demo.
The demo, yeah.
That's a weird state of affairs.
It's the kids and stuff like that, I suppose. I don't know, yeah. So...
How do you incorporate that into... We just got to have them on at the end of the night.
Well, you can't do it every week because just I'm assuming so much stuff ends up in the track. Oh, yeah, that's why they're always like in the
flat tyres the next race weekend. That's what happens.
That's why the Caravan Derby was always the last thing at Speedway City. It was just chaos. Like,
maybe we should do that with the Ute.
Well, that's actually one thing I was going to ask you about. Like, I don't know what you guys could do with the tyres. What do you got there? 18-inch rim.
Yep.
So these things on dirt.
Whoa.
Hey.
See, that's where we're getting to the meat. That's why we have to go for 2 hours. I want to put forward some sort of feature race with the Utes on the dirt, like they do in the NASCAR.
Yeah.
It's different, it's exciting. The only trick is we're nestled in with KO and Foxtel. So, and obviously they set up their gear for supercar weekends. Supercars probably wouldn't do that. We may be keen. So I don't know how, as a category, we facilitate that. Not saying we shouldn't do it. It's just we don't want to do it on just a live stream budget. Because our production is so good with Matt Nolte and the crew. We got Lounsey now commentating. They're pretty good commentators. They're leading. So to do it on a budget might taint the sort of category. So we'd have to figure out a way to be able to do it. Whether the other competitors want to do it at all, whether the sponsors want to do it, I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
What that handle like, a bitumen sort of setup on dirt, it'd be like a street stop, but stiffer. Yeah. I reckon.
So there wouldn't be like too much to change. Like
street stop? They're V6s, aren't they? So what?
No.
Modified,
V6.
Modifieds, aren't it?
Maybe late model. Well, what are these weigh?
These are 1800. So.
Yeah, you're probably looking
at like old supers.
Yeah, probably that. Yeah.
So they. But it'd be interesting. You'd be able to push a bit of.
Can you just?
I don't know how your tear-offs work because that's the next thing.
Well, how do they do it with the NASCARs anyway?
Well, that was a trick. They had to use the big. We've got tear-offs on the windscreens just for. We can use general because we were in perspex, not glass. So you need to have that on there for scratches. You just peel it off. But yeah, I think they'd have to have a slick track because you couldn't. I think NASCAR had that issue last year when they run a Bristol dirt race. It just caked on with mud and they couldn't see that to come in and stop the race. So you'd have to run it slick. I'd be keen for that. I want to make some conversations tomorrow.
See if you can. I don't know. Are you controlled by the
$150,000 car driving on the dirt with? We got brake ducts and stuff like that with Olin suspension.
What's the sprint car worth again?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Forgot about that, didn't we? But,
is there anyone stopping you from taking this to the track and having a rip though, to see what it would be like with the category?
Probably not. We could probably turn it into some sort of video edit. I think DJ from Go Sunny Soul would be pretty keen to give it a crack. He's always up for something unique. You want me to tell you an inside thing that he wants to do? We want to do a ride day at the end of the year. Strap someone on the back of the Ute and do a V8 ride with a roll cage. That's it. So someone sitting backwards.
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, we've got the third person locked in here.
Yeah.
But it's cool things like that you can do. But I don't think there's anything stopping you. But it's hard because when do you do it? Because between rounds and then say you do some damage. And they're pretty sensitive. Some of the we're trying to measure with string lines, millimetre perfect. If you knock that out, then it's not going to be a.
Well, I mean,
nice
Cam took his Mustang to Warrnambool for that video, so
that's true.
Surely
I'll have a chat to Cam tomorrow and see what they did to the car.
They just soften enough
just to sort of.
But I mean, like, what did they do? They just said to V8 Supercars, "Hey, we're filming an advert."
I'd definitely be up for it for sure. Because then we can cross-link what I've done with Speedway.
Yeah, you'd be right.
Funny enough, I talked to George earlier in the year. We were going to do a promo of me sort of doing something like that. And George went, "Hey, mate, you're not on the dirt this year." So we just ran out of time. But it's something pretty cool we can have a look at. So
Yeah.
that's yeah.
There's probably like also every chance that you might not go well in it as well though too. Like that's probably
in terms of for the
if you put these on dirt, like in it's not a guarantee that you're going to go out there and smoke it. Like,
who was it? Had a late model guy race the NASCAR? Was it? Who's the big late model?
I can picture him. I can't think of his name. He actually won the SRX today.
Yeah, he didn't do too well in the NASCAR.
Yeah, no,
but look, it's hard.
yeah.
Like, and Kyle Busch never done too much dirt, I don't believe, and he done quite well. So, but you look at Larson, he can drive anything.
Yeah.
He does well. So
Yeah.
he won the Knoxville,
Yeah.
jumped in his jet, and then
it's crazy,
flew over.
Yeah.
So that's another whole kettle of fish. That's he's madness what he does. You see him? We went over to.
Did you watch the Dirt doco?
I watched that. It's just
Yeah.
he doesn't even know much about the car.
Yeah, well, it's like that's going back to the thing of like a natural talent, surely.
How did he get his seat? He did it growing up, didn't he?
Yeah, so he came in California. There's like a wild scene of outlaw cars.
Right. Okay.
It's just huge.
Red Bluff and stuff.
Yeah,
like
all
that.
that sort of stuff. Yeah,
They're wild.
they're wild. Yeah,
They drive in. They fights in the pits at June. Like,
Yeah, they're starting to take off in Australia.
Yeah.
It's like
America's
Big man.
crazy. That's just like those outlaw cars. They run them in, just slam.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
And they're indoor tracks. And stuff.
the indoor and stuff like that. Yeah.
Little
Well,
wings.
the week before Chili Bowl is like all 500 stuff, or what they call micro sprints.
That's the Golden Driller.
Yeah,
So is it the Tulsa Shootout?
The Tulsa Shootout, yeah.
So they run the micros.
they run all the micros. Yeah,
wingless, non-wing.
yeah,
Yeah.
outlaw.
Oh, sorry, wingless, and then winged,
Yeah.
600s, 1000s,
all that,
juniors.
yeah, all that sort of stuff. 400.
It's like 1,000 odd entries or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually bigger than Chili Bowl.
Yeah, because they've got so many
Yeah,
different
so
categories.
many
But,
cars and cars and stuff.
they have to do, that's on the bucket list to go and...
Yeah.
I talked about it on another podcast. Craig Vanderstel, you have to have him on the pod.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
keen to have him?
Yeah,
I'll have a
yeah,
chat to him
yeah.
to do the pod. So he's sort of gearing up to do some more sprint car stuff, and he wants to do the Chili Bowl at some stage.
Yeah, right.
So probably go over and
So that's-
help him.
Luke Dillon's at it. Dave Donegan.
Yep.
He
He's
said,
a sprint pig, isn't he?
yeah, he's
yeah.
He said he's keen for it. So yeah, it's
Maybe all three of us go over there and do a 3-for-1 deal or something. Nah, it's something you have to experience. I think a lot of different types of drivers go over there
yeah.
and race there because
It's a big week though. Like it's. So I was talking to Tino's when he was in Australia about it, and he said like the hard thing with it is you might be racing on Tuesday night, but the guys either side of your pit are racing Thursday night. So
do you stay in the pits or you have to cut yourself out?
no, you stay in the pits. You
Right.
bring your hauler in,
Yeah.
and then the truck's got to go over the haul stays.
Oh right, so it's not like Knoxville where you have to.
No, you have to,
bring-
like, do a
right.
trailer, yeah.
So you could be. Oh right.
So he's saying like you're racing that night, but the pits either side of you are having a party.
You
you can
have
drink.
to keep yourself sort of
You can
somewhat
drink.
in the game.
Like
yeah.
you can drink all through the pits there. So he said like they got music going and like
Party,
it's
but
a
then you
full
need to
party,
race.
and you're in the middle pit, and it's like your race night, and it's make or break to make the feature.
You have to win everything. You have to move forward.
Yeah, oh,
Just-
yeah.
Some of those interesting what they do to those cars. There's no rules.
Nah, so there's sort of like it's not no rules per se. There's a few rules, but it's not sort of
As stringent.
It's not
as
as
the
stringent.
USAC
Yeah, there's no like
publishes.
anything indoor. There's no weight rule.
I've heard they've had sleds like
Yeah.
one wheel on one
Yeah,
wheel.
I
Like,
think that was JJ Yearly. So yeah, that actually
did that work?
No, he wasn't allowed to use it.
Oh, right.
Because they said that it was it's classified as a snow ski, so he wasn't allowed to use it. So yeah, but he's for years they've done a motorbike solo front wheel on it and stuff like that. Like
And, and then the half cage, like
Yeah.
the hot
Yeah.
rods looking
Yeah.
thing. Squared tanks. They've just
Yeah,
thought
everything
outside
like-
the
yeah,
outside the square.
It's-
no pun.
there's so much to so much pride in winning that event. But that's another thing though. That comes back to the event that
Yeah,
the Chili Bowl is as
you're
well.
right. And that's I think Larson. Who was talking about the prize? They trying to increase the prize. They're not.
Yeah, 'cause it's
happy
only
with
like- it's only like-
20 grand.
It's only like 10 grand. Yeah,
They're trying to
which
level
sounds
it
like
up.
stupid to say it's only 10, but it's like you look at other things that are like.
But that should be 50, 100 grand to win. Surely
Oh,
they
you
make
just-
some money.
Oh,
Like,
you
come on,
assume so.
all the entries.
Yeah.
If you charge what,
$100
$150, $200 entry and you get 500 cars. Come on.
Yeah, and the venue sells out.
Come on.
Because the grandstand sells out like
Why
instantly.
don't they put more grandstands?
I don't know if they can fit it.
Yeah, right. Exhaust.
But the pit,
fumes probably.
but this is what like teammates are saying though. Like, me and you could just rock up and buy a pit pass, and then just fold out our cam chair and just sit in the lane. Sit in the lane. You don't even have to watch the track. You just watch the big
But
screen.
that's why you got.
Yeah.
That's why the people go.
Yeah.
You're not getting boxed into a
Yeah.
corner. You must do this.
Yeah.
What pass you got? Nah, you're
Yeah.
down there. It's just go for
Teammates
goal.
would be like, "Hey mate, can you move?" And that guy's having a beer in his lawn chair.
But NASCAR's similar. It's just American culture, I think.
Yeah.
We're very.
Because wasn't NASCAR you're allowed to take a cart in, aren't you?
So we went to Michigan. Me and Dad, and we did the full tour sort of thing. NASCAR, drags, speedway. We went to the Indianapolis BC39
Yeah, right.
last year. That was the best highlight for the year.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, we went to Michigan NASCAR, and they party on the side streets.
Yeah.
But NASCAR's on the next day. They're having a party, barbecue. They
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
It was 35 degrees, and you walk in, show your pass, and we walked right into the pit lane of the NASCAR Cup Series.
Yeah,
We
right.
could have hopped over the wall, which was this big, and we were out on the track doing 300 k's an hour. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, but that's another level again. Cup Series. It's just the level of professionalism and money that's involved. It's full on. So. But it shows that, like, even Larson said he loves the speedway. That's his thing. So
Yeah, I think I could be wrong, so I don't want to quote him necessarily, but I think he said like his ultimate goal is to do World of Outlaws full time. Like that's like for him, that's where he wants to get to. With
maybe
racing.
he'll go back to that.
Well,
Cup days. And
I'd assume that like that's sort of post NASCAR, but it's
10
like
years or something.
Yeah.
Casey Kane kind of did that.
yeah. So
Is Casey still racing?
yeah, he's still
Yeah.
So, but I mean that's sort of like, isn't it funny that people want to go race Outlaws
That's
full
his
time?
dream. There's some other people that might not
Yeah,
want that,
like-
but he's a hardcore racer.
Yeah.
He's maybe when his family gets a bit older, he might not want to do that, but he's just as hardcore as it gets. He'll race every day of the week if he wants to, and that's why he's so
Probably
good.
nearly does.
And that's why I'm trying to race as much as I can with what I do, because if you're in a seat all the time, you pick up little things. You look at Shane Van Gisbergen with what he did with the NASCAR. He's
Yeah.
in the rally car, in a sprint car.
Yeah.
Look at Kostecki. Where's he doing well? Race a sprint car.
Yeah.
Look at Max Verdoe winning the Porsches in a sprint car.
Yeah.
Joel Heinrich doing well in the sprint car.
Races everything.
Aussie Car winning the Aussie Car.
Yeah.
So there's something to being good in a sprint car that does translate to some degree. The car moves around so much. And
Yeah.
you got to be eyes wide open to drive those things. They're pretty full on. You go and buy one and get your what are you
I know where we end up.
overturn two
We
things
end
or something.
up way over the fence.
What's your favourite track in Australia?
Borderline.
Borderline. What, just then ball ring kind of thing?
Yeah, just the boring. I think it shows like the driver has to come out.
Yep.
Come out there. It's not. I mean, not that we've got any massive tracks like America anyway, where guys are straights ahead or anything like that. Perth's probably like the only one, but yeah, I think it sort of shows you've got to be.
Elbows out. So.
Well, I mean, within a couple of laps, you're dealing with lap traffic, so you got to.
What do you think of the tractor tyres? Do you think it's good, bad, not needed, wrong way?
I don't know. See, some nights you're like, oh man, no one's near them, and then I remember without them as well.
People cheating
And people
getting angry.
People having luck with the left rear on them, or yeah.
But can't you make a rule that?
Well, they used to have the rule that you
And then
can't.
it got hairy,
and they get it's all. Oh, I didn't see him do that. It's like, well, we do that every lap.
Just have a camera set up, I guess.
I suppose, yeah. I don't know.
Who polices it? You know, you've got
I don't know, it's like-
it's just that sometimes it can make the track wider having tractor tyres. So, and you can't avoid, as a racer, you might not want to use the tractor tyre, but if you have someone spin in front of you, then you either hit him, you're driving the tractor tyre and you wreck your car. So it takes you out. It's not your fault. So that's a bit frustrating, but I think the best way to do it is what America does and make the infield so unusable that there's no gain to be down there anyway. That doesn't matter. Go on there. You're going to be nowhere anyway. So I think you'll see that with Bordertown.
Yeah.
Because the crown of that inside,
Yeah.
there's just no point being down there.
I don't know if they're like fully replicating what's there at I-55. But that's got concrete wall all the way around the inside.
I-55 does?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Oh, is that what...
That's what Bordertown's replicating.
I think I-55 has a slip lane.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I remember World of Outlaws 2002.
So besides like the little pit like entries, it's concrete barrier internally all the way around.
But is there a slit? I don't think we're allowed to have that in Australia. Like, you know how there's a run-in?
Oh, yeah.
They have to have a wall that opens. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean, though. So, like, even turn, like, both turns still have concrete wall there. So there's no...
I think I-55 does have concrete around the whole lot. Is that...
Yeah, but that's what I mean, though. So you can't really cheat anything there. So it's like...
Oh, on the inside.
Yeah.
Sorry. Is that what Australia... Bordertown's
yeah.
Right, okay.
Well, I think so anyway. Like, that's what I mean. So there's no
you can't nip it anyway.
Yeah.
So like Eldora or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Hit your wheel there.
Yeah.
That's definitive, the track. So
Yeah.
I wonder how they grade the track with that. I don't know. That's a side point. How is Bordertown sort of tracking? Are they getting close?
Yeah, I think they're getting pretty close to it, yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm keen for it.
SA needs it. We need a second sort of track. I know we got Mount Gambier, but I think it's more of I think Victorians kind of take it for their own, don't they?
Yeah, well, there is some Victorian titles there and stuff, but
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is so close.
Closer than Victoria than sort of us.
I'm keen for it because, like, Murray-Bridge to Bordertown's 2 hours, and then Bordertown to Mount Gambier is 2 hours. So, I think we can link back up to some good...
Three tracks.
Yeah, some good runs there.
Well, that's great. What the guys do down there is great, but it's a long way still.
It's
and even
side.
from the Victorian teams to go all the way to Adelaide and then Whyalla. But what the Browns have done there is awesome. They've turned a track that wasn't amazing to something that a sprint car can go around and race around. Like, we've been there a couple of times and we've had some cool races there. So I think we've Fadden McHugh, we've had some... Yeah. It's good.
So what's your favourite track?
Warrnambool. You can't. The pace that Warrnambool on a qualifying run when it's tacky, you dream of that sort of stuff. It's awesome. That's its eyes wide. You come back doing 2 laps and you're puffing. You haven't breathed. You haven't closed your eyes for that sort of amount of time. But that's my favourite track for America. I haven't raced over there, but from what I look at, I used to always like I-55. Me and my brother used to always race that in the game sort of thing. I think it was just bank tracks, create that swoop move, kind of turn back, run the top, run the bottom. I think hopefully they get it right and see some battles there. So
I love Lawrenceburg.
So what's that type of track?
That's like, I think the Americans might say it's like a bull ring, but to us it's not. But it's like,
is it a wall or is it a crest? Like you run off of it?
No, it's got a wall, but it's like super wide.
Right.
You can someone might be throwing a slider and that guy's getting slid as well. That's how sort of wide it is. I think someone said from the top of the berm, like if you went 90 degrees to the curb, it's like 3 stories high. Is how high it is. Yeah.
You've never been there. You just watched it.
I just watched heaps from there. Every time.
That's Indiana.
That's Indiana. Yeah.
They've got heaps in Indiana.
No,
Indiana's where if you want to do sprint cars, Indiana.
Yeah. I'd probably just anything in general.
Yeah.
I think even there's a couple of guys from Sydney that are racing like legend cars in America as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's the crazy thing that the legend cars are huge there.
I think Sam Putland was looking at doing something in a legend car. Speaking in the other week, and I think he's going to do it on tar.
Yeah, because they're like huge there as well.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. So that's the sort of where going cycling back. Aussie racing cars were based off of the legend cars. So, Phil Ward brought them over and turned the body shapes into the old school, into the new school kind of cars. But they teach you a lot about racecraft as well because everything happens very fast in those cars. They're nimble, they move around under you, sort of thing. So, but legend cars on dirt. They do them in Australia, I think. Benny Grice, Alan Grice's son. He raced one for a little while, and that'd be pretty cool. They're like a Mod Light. I think the Mod Lights are similar. Yeah. What do you think of the Mod Lights?
I love them. I reckon they're great. Yeah. It seems like they've controlled that class
That's what
really
you mean,
well.
not letting people blow out.
Yeah,
bunches,
it doesn't
so.
seem like anything's blown out. There's always a bunch of different winners, and yeah.
We're going to drive one, I reckon. Chadwick wants to get me in one, and then even Richter, he's like, "Oh, come on and have a go." But that'd be fun.
You should try and see how many cars you can race on the one light speedway.
Boy, can't do. Who else? They did that 3-peat.
Yeah.
If you win $1 million or something. Did anyone do that?
No, I think it was like $100,000. It was like,
I swear it was $1 million. Oh, 100 grand. 100 grand.
yeah, it was the sprint car, late model, and the speed car. Yeah.
A couple of guys from Sydney tried to
I
do it.
think Robbie Farr had a crack at it at Murray Bridge one night.
There's someone else from Sydney.
I think someone else might.
Tyler Dig or something, maybe?
Yeah, I think someone else had a crack at it as well. There's only like the hard thing for Australia is just trying to get those 3 rides together on the same night.
And good rides.
Yeah,
You don't
it's
want like a dodgy late model.
Yeah.
What's the point?
So trying to put that together is probably the hardest thing of it all. Like,
Larson, if anyone could, or Pickens, he could do it.
I'd love to see Pickens in a late model.
Has he done a late model?
I'm
not
sure. I'll ask him.
Mischief.
he's like, he's one of those guys that's just like, he can drive anything. Like, yeah.
He did NASCAR.
Yeah, he did some
Truck series, isn't it?
Was it trucks or?
I think he did trucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, not knocking it, but it's one of the stepping stones to NASCAR.
100%. Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. Like, they have so many categories in NASCAR. Like,
So they got the AIDKA series.
yeah, but there's 5 or more below that as well.
Yeah, so I think NASCAR have purchased AIDKA, so they were the old K&N series.
Yeah.
So that was...
That's what
yeah.
Pickens Race was.
Oh,
K&N
okay,
series.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
wasn't truck. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the...
He might have done something in a truck, but I know that
maybe not.
Yeah,
Maybe
I know
not.
he was K&N series. Yeah, that's
Yep,
the one.
yep.
Yeah.
Which is like 5th down. I guess you've got the Cup, your 2nd tier nationwide, and then you've got your trucks. You've probably got AIDKA is like your 4th, and then you've got like AIDKA East and West kind of thing. So then you've got your late model, short track, sort of late model, the tar racing late model kind of thing. So yeah, like you said, it's just it's endless. Then you've got those SK modifieds. You seen those?
Oh, dude, I froth on them.
Interesting.
Oh, I love them. They're wild.
Have
Eh?
you driven them on iRacing?
Yeah, I've driven them on iRacing.
They're
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah.
aren't they? They handle well.
Yeah, obviously can't tell you, but I'm assuming that they do handle somewhat like the real thing. But like as the laps go on, they just get like quicker, and they.
But the start,
Yeah.
that's a weird looking thing.
Have you ever actually watched them?
No.
Oh man, they're wild.
Oh, I've watched them like on TV,
Yeah,
YouTube.
Yeah.
But they race.
Oh yeah.
They don't. They have to put your nose in because they race on short tracks.
Yeah,
so you have to
extremely
nose it
short
in.
tracks,
Yeah,
yeah.
So
Yeah, they're wild. I love them.
the fights at some of those short track races, they're kicking them in. They jump through the windscreen. Trying helmets.
I know
how many
that-
helmets they go through.
That Bowman Grey's always got like something going on. It's pretty wild. It's like the WWE racing there almost.
But it's just, that's their life.
Yeah.
But that's passionate.
Yeah.
But I think it's a chili bowl. They're allowed to fight in turn 4. What's the
Yeah,
rule?
they can't. Cause, I can't think of his name. The guy that runs Chili Bowl, because the few that have kicked off in the pits is just wild. There's too many people, man.
Kids and stuff running around.
There's just too many people.
So
Like,
he said, do it in turn 4.
do it in turn 4 or the front straight, whatever it is, and it's just the 2 drivers.
So it's like ice hockey. You drop your helmet and drop your sticks, and you're allowed to go first person.
Well, I suppose the other thing is too, though, like if you're on the other side of the track, like trying to agree, like, hey, let's go to the front straight and sort this out. It's never going to happen, sort of thing. Anyway, it's kind of got to.
But if you box them in,
Yeah.
and then you jump out,
Yeah.
you probably could.
Yeah.
But the crowd would love it.
Oh yeah,
It's all about the crowd.
that's right. It's at the end of the day, it doesn't
You got
matter
a crowd,
what.
you got sponsors, you
Yeah.
got sponsors, you got money. Sport continues.
Yeah,
So,
whether it's V8 supercars or sprint cars or straight stocks, it's an entertainment product.
100%.
And end of the day, that's exactly what it is.
And that's why we're doing what we're doing, 'cause
Yeah.
to give the fans a bit more insight on what racing's all about. So,
Yeah.
no, 100%. The more categories and the sport understands that, which people that do it well, and they understand that.
Yeah.
So, I'd hate to be running a bloody series because there's always people saying, if I did it this way, if I graded the track,
Yeah, that's right.
It's not easy to do that. But
I think I was talking with Joel Chadwick about it. I said, like, I've knocked speedway promoters before. Like, definitely, I'll 100%.
Yeah, put your hand
I'll
up.
put my hand up for it. I will, for sure. Like, and to a certain degree, there's things that they do that I don't understand. So, until I was in a position to understand, like, You know, I don't know what it takes to promote a speedway. Like, being honest, like, it's easy for me to knock them, but at the same time too, I don't know what it takes to run one.
But you have to voice your opinion or what you think of as a fan. But like, it's the prepping of the track can be a bit twisted sometimes. Like, sometimes leaving it. What we'll do it. We used to do it, but I don't think they've quite got it right with the new service. But they used to tickle this, do that. I think the classic they got it pretty good last year. It's a fine art.
Yeah.
You do it too much, put too much water, it's a slop fest. You let it go, it takes rubber, ruts up. So it's, especially those bull rings or the shorter tracks, they probably wear the track out a little bit more because you're harding trying to rotate the car. Whereas those bigger tracks in America are probably more wide. So
I actually have a theory on it.
Is that a theory? What's your theory?
So America sprint cars, they don't run mufflers.
Oh, you think it's a heat thing?
Well,
the track or something?
Well, we have to run mufflers here and a turn down. So you've got, say, 20 sprint cars on track, all with turn downs for 20, 30, 40 laps. All that heat's going towards the track instead of just out. Could be wrong. I don't know.
Oh, you got it cool. You got a point. Well, how much that would pack it? Yeah.
We'd have to be doing something. That much heat.
I think it's the type of dirt as well that we've got in some tracks here. Two of them do it well.
Yeah.
Like, they create a really racy track.
Yeah.
It can be done. It's just Audible used to have it. They have going through some teething processes with that new dark dirt. But I think they had it pretty good last class.
Mount Gambier gets it right, like 99% of the time.
I think if you know your surface, and those guys, they're old heads that have been doing that Mount Gambier, so they understand how the dirt gets packed. Okay, this track's doing this, we need to, in 2 heats, put this much water and scratch it this much.
Or like, that class isn't coming out, we're going to put them on.
And that's what, as a junior sedan, where we used to, why are we going out now? That's bullshit. And it's like, there's a reason why, you know. Have to think about the bigger picture. So
Bill Barrows is like,
he's good.
He's great at it. Yeah, you just hope that someone like that is teaching someone. Like,
it's like a blacksmith, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like they're an art that will eventually go away if we don't pass that baton on to the.
Yeah, so you hope someone's like learning and taking on from it.
On speedway grading, don't we?
It's a thing, man. Like, it's legit a thing. Me and Jamie we spoke about it. It's 100% an art. It's like,
and that will turn a good event into a bad event if the track's bad.
Yeah,
that's one element that supercars don't really have to contend with, because that's an interesting point. It has to be done right. If you don't have good racing, when a rubber's in, it's not the best racing in sprint cars, is it? It's good if you're leading, or if you find the rubber first. This is wicked. Yeah, but
So does bitumen tracks take rubber anywhere at all?
Oh yeah. So that's funny you say that. Nowhere near as much as sprint cars when it goes black, but on a street circuit, so say the Clipsal, there's a 4-day race weekend or 3 or 4 day race weekend. We if it doesn't rain from a Thursday to a Sunday, it'll be a completely different track. So you just loosen the car up. That's weird in sprint cars. You tighten it up as the night goes on. Here you loosen it up because you'll be too tight when the rubber goes down. Especially a street circuit, because it's so dirty, so much dirt, dust, and crap on the track. It'll rubber in, and it also depends on what type of rubber goes down on the track. So we've got a few Hoosier categories. You've got the touring car masters and the S5000s are on Hoosier rubber. The Oklahoma rubber doesn't like the Hoosier rubber, so if their session's sort of before us, by the time we have to go out a couple of laps, our rubber will burn that rubber off and then start laying our rubber down faster. So trying to have that on a qualifying, you can sort of realise, oh, hang on, maybe we should go out early, go out later, save our brand new rubber, let the other guys burn that rubber off. So there's a bit of thinking, gamesmanship, but then it's risky, because if someone puts it in the gravel trap at qualifying, it's a red flag, you might not have enough time to get around the track. So different ways to skin the cat, but it does take rubber, and you can, a lot of marbles. If you go out after a big supercar race, there's a lot of marbles out there. They won't clean it for us, so offline's pretty dirty. They chunk up a lot of their, depending on if they run a soft tyre or a hard tyre for the Dunlop supercars. So not as much, but similar. And that's what I mean. It's still motorsport, still 4 wheels. Like, you take that learn from different motorsports and use them for everything. So it's good. It's good fun.
So where do you use, like, how old are you now?
I'm 31, so I'm old. I'm a grandpa in the racing world. So for me, trying to like make it in a supercar way, it's like I'm not pushing for that. Would I drive a Super 2 or Super 3 at some stage? Possibly. But I'm having so much fun being at great events. You know, like I said, the Gold Coast street race coming up, Bathurst 1000, Adelaide 500 next year. It's awesome. We're having fun, so I'm happy being in this for a long time. Like, see where the wind blows. Never know. So.
Yeah. Because what sort of money you'd have to take?
I can tell you some money. So like
don't get into trouble, but
no. So like,
you got to take some big money to get into.
Super 2, Super 3 could be a budget of 500 to 700 a year.
That you'd have to take to a team?
Well, it depends. You might have some sponsors, or maybe a team can see that you've got some talent. They might have a sponsor that can chip in a couple of hundred. You bring a couple of hundred. Sponsors chip in a couple of hundred. So you can skin the cat a different way. There's a few people that do like the investing way. So Bitchman, so like an investor might put in $500,000 for a junior, so a 17, 18-year-old in a Formula 3 or a Formula 4, providing that when he makes it to Formula 1 or V8 supercars, that investor will get 10-20% of his wage for the 10-year or foreseeable future. So that investor then can make money on his return. So there is ways to do it like that, and some of the open wheeler guys that go to Europe have done that because it costs in the millions to do FIA Formula 2 and Formula 3, so you need serious money to do that. So that's another way to raise money, but then you have to be careful not to sell your soul. Because if you do make it to supercars and you're on $1 million or $500,000 a year, but you got 50% of your investors, so it's tricky. So, but so Super 2, Super 3 is sort of that budget, and then supercars run on a different kind of platform because they have a charter, and then, sort of supercars share it around, kick back different corporate backing in a different kind of way. So it's big money, whereas these are like a quarter of the budget to sort of Super 2, Super 3. So, but they're great. I'd love to give you a hot lap at the end of the year or whatnot, just to see what you think of it. Like they get up and move, So. And they slide around, so that's good.
That's the best part. That's what we want.
Actually, you know what, vanilla racing and a lot of like the GT Porsches I'm not a great fan of, because it's just follow the leader and dirty air comes into it, and just follow the leader. At least we can have a bump, have a run on someone. So
what was the Lambo stuff like that you did?
So I worked with a team, a Thailand team, Super Try his name was. So because obviously I know this circuit a little bit, gave some help there, worked with the category a little bit as well. They're pretty cool cars, but again, it's that dirty air. I think Luke Dillon come on and sort of once said that he loved the cars, but just the racing's just not there. So they were long races, so you have to find your groove and stuff like that, and you have to have some pit stop strategy and stuff like that as well. But they got like ABS, they got got traction control, they got paddle shift. These we got H pattern, you got to hill toe, you got to modulate the clutch, you got to H pattern through the box. It's hard work. These are the old school sort of way of driving. So modulating the brake to make sure you've got optimal brake pressure when you're blipping the throttle, but keeping that brake trace even, because you don't want to be on and off the brake because you're upsetting the front of the car. So there's a technique to that. We practice a lot with the sims and stuff like that, but because the pedal force on these types of cars, it's like you're doing 100 kilo leg press every time you're hitting the brakes. So, I love the Lambo stuff, but it's too easy in terms of driver inputs. They just dial up. If you're not so good of a driver, you just drive up the traction control, take the ABS down. So I don't know. I'd do it if someone said, "Oh, do you want to do a co-drive?" I'll jump in with him. But in terms of, and that's big money. I think that's nearly $100,000 a round or something like that. I think the nom fee's nearly 50, sort of thing. So That's I nearly fell off my chair backwards when I heard that. So that is an Asian championship. So obviously their transport somewhat included in that,
Yeah,
but
right.
still $50,000 a round per nom fee. It's not to run the car. That's just the nom fee.
Some of the guys don't like a $50 nom fee or something.
The go-karts that we race, it's $30. They scream. But yeah, it's just a different kettle of fish. It's a different demographic. A lot of those guys are high-end business owners. So, but yeah, cool cars. Technology is pretty cool in them. But actually, funny enough, my engineer, George is sort of engineer with the GGM. He was there working with the team as well. Because what happened with that event, with all the COVID stuff and with all the passports and the visas, they're still backlogged from years ago, right?
Yeah, right.
So, because it's an Asian Championship, a week before, all these mechanics, engineers, driver coaches are all stuck at the airport. They couldn't come over. So they were scrambling around to try and sort of put people in place to make the event go ahead. So, because they couldn't come over, the visas were all, they took too long to do the visas because the Australian government's taking so long at the moment. So, yeah, that was a weird one. So, but yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. What else do you want to talk about?
So all I'm hearing is like sprint cars are the best thing that you drive.
No, they are awesome. They're just a lot faster. We got 400 or 500 horsepower. They got 800-900. So in terms of power, in terms of like crazy drive, sprint cars just kill it. They got. The only other thing, the Formula 3 is pretty fast, and the aero, like the speeds we're doing is faster, but the speed coming out the corners are just a lot more with a sprint car. So like we're doing 250 or 230, 250. Sprint cars, you're probably only doing what, 100?
Yeah, I think like 160 or something like that.
So
Yeah.
that's at Knoxville, maybe 200. The speed that is just the sheer getting from 50 or 60 to 100. It's just lightning. So.
Is there anything else that you want to race in Speedway?
Once you race a sprint car, what do you want to do?
Yeah, that's right.
That's the
That's a
problem.
fair point.
That's the problem. That's why I've spoiled myself now. Like, even supercars wouldn't be the sheer pace. Like it's.
Are any of the guys that like race this like bitumen stuff find it crazy that you race a sprint car? Like,
Well, no, but a lot of the, like Cam Waters, you've got Kostecki, you've got Heinrich, you've got Gisbergen, you've got like even Todd Hazelwood. I think he secretly wants to jump in a sprint car and have a go, but no, like not really. Oh, like some of them probably say, I know what you're saying. Like, are you crazy?
would they understand it as well? That's probably
Not
the other
probably.
thing. Yeah.
They probably don't. But they are beasts. You're sitting on methanol through a drive line. Your arms hanging out of the car. It's full on. Like once you race a sprint car, nothing's really as dangerous. You know, I've got an open face helmet, and you won't be doing that in the sprint car. I'll tell you that much. But I raced motocross for a couple of years, like 2 or 3 years, and that's like more hectic than a sprint car sort of thing. So
right.
Even Trevor Green was sort of saying that. He was saying like good sprint car guys are.
They're all ex-motocross.
Well, like a lot of guys that have done well in sprint cars have come through. Like I think the Dumpsy guys have done some motocross stuff, and teaches you like you don't mind hanging it off the fence because it's a lot worse if you come off a 110-foot double or a table foot top. You know what I mean? Like when you're flying through the air and you're landing on the ground. So the only thing that's probably a bit not scary, but thing you have to think about is the fire. If you're trapped underneath, you have to sort of be able to get out that car or know where you are to get out because methanol fires aren't. It's the only thing that's a bit spooky, I guess.
Yeah.
Are they coming out with a fire suppression? Is that?
Yeah, I think Knoxville's got them. I think you have to. I don't know about the nationals, but I know that like the weekly shows there, you got to run them.
Oh right. Is that fire that cast? Did that bottle? Was that the bottle come off?
Yeah,
that's not going to help when it's on fire. Is it?
Yeah. Have you seen? You probably would have seen the one that's in Formula 1 cars. That's like that tiny little orange, like box. Have you seen that one? It's only like 2.5 kilos, which is I know it's a huge amount of weight in terms of racing, but it's just this little box, and it just goes off in the cockpit.
Oh, so is it a G meter, or is it when it senses fire, or they have to activate it?
I'm assuming it senses fire, maybe. I would have to sense fire because you can't rely on the driver.
Because if you're unconscious.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's where good speedway is great in that manner because you've got the officials right there.
Yeah.
Whereas if we've had an incident, might be 30 seconds until a marshal comes to us. That's an eternity if you're on fire.
Yeah.
So I feel a lot safer in one way that the officials. You look at how good is a Knoxville? They're running. They're halfway off the track there. So that's pretty cool. That's one thing that when you're racing a good track,
Good
a
venue,
pretty big venue, you do rely on. Like Warrnambool has a really good safety crew, and you do think about that stuff sometimes. And you go, nah, it's just safer than racing a go track somewhere in the middle of nowhere, sort of thing. So, but saying that on the fire suppression, it's just come a rule that we have to have a system in our cars for this year. So, the more safety, the better. And if everyone has to have it, it's not like you're disadvantaged.
Yeah, that's right.
So, fire's the only thing that's got no hope, have you? If you're unconscious, and it's off the start, so the hard one. Like if someone stalls in front of you and you can't see your punter, you're up in flames. So.
Have you ever had a big moment like racing, just across anything that you raced?
Had a couple of small rolls in a sprint car, nothing massive. Probably the big one was a Junior Sedan roll, like 5 or 6 times at Bordertown.
Yeah, right. That's you and Joel had a good roll with Junior.
Yeah, Junior.
It's not very
they just
common.
keep going, ding, ding. But Aussie Car didn't really have any big crashes. Had a few on iRacing. But you press escape and jump out.
They're easy and cheap.
But nah, not really.
No.
Motocross, I've had a couple. I think I should be in hospital moments, like ones that are huge, but nah, not yet. Yeah, touch wood. So we'll just like if you keep racing sprint cars, you know it's when, it's not if.
Yeah.
So, but you're prepared. You got arm restraints and big seat and stuff like that. But still can hurt the speeds you're doing, like especially in some of these tracks when they qualify. You hit the wall.
Some speed, it's sudden stopping.
Well, they're so light and they just tear. But that's why I drove with the wing on it. Do a midget. Dad had a midget back in the day, and I drove out a practice day. That was cool fun. But Bert Fenton sort of put a car together for me to do some racing, and I just sort of said no. I was only 17, 18, and a few people were hurting themselves pretty bad, and that's when we were going the Aussie Car sort of route, and I sort of said no. Not scared me, but you just don't have that wing to cushion that blow.
Bit of protection there.
And you see a lot of people in wheelchairs, and it can happen like that, and it's just game over. So would I get in the midget? For sure, but maybe when I'm 45 and I'm on my, I don't know, I'm later in my career and I don't have to walk for much longer. So
don't have bills and stuff, maybe. All the bills are winding down a bit.
That's it, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
Alright man, thanks for this, You're like the, definitely like the most versatile driver that I've spoken to, so...
We could go more in detail, but maybe that's next year we can do another one, when you start doing some repeats or something.
Yeah, definitely, you'd be one for sure, because I think,
if I can delve into deeper of history of different races.
I think the hard thing is too, and like, I'm not a dig at all, I totally understand, like, I suppose everyone's the same, like, if they could say what they really want to, which is like totally tricky, and like I don't want it to be like that either.
No, and it's not like we've got great corporate support, and again we can go on and on about accessibility on that. And would I be racing sprint cars if I chose? Would I be racing sprint cars in America or racing in Australia? Like I love sprint car, I think you're amazing, but unfortunately, like it's the money side of things, and being able to recruit legitimate sponsors that work with you. This is the only way, and like a lot of the sprint car teams are self-funded in Australia, and it's hard when they're searching hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So it's tricky. So
yeah,
right.
I hope you're back on film.
Easy,
man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.